I'm literally seated in the other corner of my room, not too far from where I usually sit. I'm finally tackling the closet. Um, so I had an apartment on campus, and then I had to downsize. And when I had that apartment, I had to get like dishes and stuff like that because it had a full kitchenette, like an on-campus apartment. And then I moved to an off-campus apartment, and it was furnished with a lot of things, so I didn't have to take that. But I downsized from my off-campus apartment into an on-campus dorm. And then when I came home, I had the rest of the stuff that I had with me. So a lot of the stuff was parked here before I got here 3 years ago now. It was 2019, December, at the end of the fall semester. Wow, it's been 3 years. That's so wild. Wild but accurate, but wild. Anyway, so that's why the mess is here. I'm just now getting to taking care of it. I mean, it's been my project since like I stopped working over a week ago now, but last week up until today was catching up on rest. So it doesn't matter why I'm starting it today. That's why I'm parked here because I can literally go nowhere else in my room. Um, but anyway, for some reason, I've been moving, my feet hurt, whatever. I get to sit in this chair. Hey, Holly, how you doing? I get to sit in this chair that I like never get to sit in, um, because there's always stuff on it. And for some reason, I open up my 2022 document that my friend transcribed for me, my journey buddy. I'm eating soup, by the way, too. So I'm reading through my 2022 reading. I read the part, the combination. It was like the Nine of Swords. Well, I wish I had another device so I could pull it up. But it was something like getting to decide if what you used to believe or do, like you'll still do. And then the combination between the Six of Cups and the Nine of Swords. I was reading. There's like five and a half, 5.25 pages. It's on page one. Is on my it's a community board, I guess. Right now, I'm gonna. I took pictures, screenshots of the other five, of the other 4.25 pages. I'm gonna post all of it, and then I'm gonna read it. And then if I need if I need to take it down, I'm gonna take it down. I'll just leave it up for like 24 hours. Um, but then I read a part with the Knight of Cups, and it was like, again, I did this on January 3rd. So full tea, full honesty. Like I already knew that coming into this year, it was going to be challenging because of like the maternity leave and stuff like that, right? That I've talked about. But I read a part with the Nine of Cups, which was like seeking clarity in something. And it was like, I'm going to find myself basically in unfamiliar spaces all year, like outside of my comfort zone, but in my desire area. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? It's almost like I'm sort of semi gifted or something. But like, I read for my journey buddy, not all the time, but she takes notes when I do readings, and she's not as deep into the tarot verse as I am. So, oh, I just meant like my feet were bothering me because I was like standing and moving and walking, and I just wanted to sit down. That's it. But thanks. Um, but she was like, like you do these reads for me at the beginning of the year or whenever, and then at the end of the year, I read back through them, and it's like stuff happened and you read it. And I was like, what? Like, yeah, because I would vaguely recall some of the things, but like reading it, transcribing it was her idea. And I've mentioned that she's not as deep into it because that's why, like, sometimes I might give a blurb. Like in the picture, it's like the Six of Cups, this can be this, the Nine of Swords, that can be this. Everything that's highlighted in the picture, like it came to her to highlight as she was transcribing it. I was reading it, she was taking notes. And I'm just like, wow. So this was just a short video to, I guess, announce that I'm going to be posting those in the community posts. I'll probably just set it for the 24-hour thing because it don't need to be there all year or like permanently. Um, I guess I could do it permanent and then just take it down at the beginning of the year. I'll just do the 24-hour thing. It's fine. Um, and also, I guess just to note, because every now and then I talk about my experience. So there's been this like subtle, this very, very subtle, almost like a if you want to. Like, I don't want to inconvenience you. I don't really want to like take up too much space. But like, if you want, this can blah 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 da 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 whatever from like the universe. And so it's been, and when I say from the universe, I guess it's been like a very quiet, a very subtle, intuitive hit or whatever, that there's a thread thin line or a thread thin path if I so choose to take it in front of me. And I've been knowing that it's there. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you were in my shoes, I feel like you would see it too. It's just how things have lined up. And I was going to meet someone for, but I guess synchronicity or confirmation sort of happens in threes for me. Um, Twos or threes or more if I'm being extra stubborn. Because what happened one day, like I had a thought. I was just like, I know where I'm being guided right now. I know where I'm being led right now. Ultimately, it feels so choicey because it's not, like I said, it's not being heavily pushed. It's not like the divine is screaming at me, you need to do this, go in that direction. It's more so recognition of the unfolding of a pathway, the opening, the blooming of a flower, I guess you could say, the lotus. And so I had that thought, oh, it occurred to me to look at jobs one night. And I noticed that I don't check all the time, but I check fairly frequently ish. But something told me to get on there and check. I noticed that 2 new postings were made. So instead of 5, it was now 7. If that means anything numerologically. Instead of 5, it was now 7. And I looked at one of them, but just from the title, I didn't even click through to the description or anything. But just from the title, I was like, oh, like this isn't what I want. This isn't for me. And so the next day I go to eat lunch. I had plans, loose plans with my friend, to meet up for lunch either yesterday or today. Today is Thursday. Either yesterday or today. And he was like, yesterday, he was like, oh, today's a busy day. Like, he said it's a crazy day, so, but I might be able to do lunch. So at around lunchtime, like I got ready. It was warmer yesterday, so I was like, oh, I can go for a walk. So I went for a little walk. And I was like, I'll wait about like half an hour. If I don't hear back, I'll just assume that today's not going to work because he said maybe. Um, and so I did like not a full lap because I wanted to be close enough to the car that it wouldn't take me like 10 minutes just to get back. But I ended up walking a fair amount and I made it back and I was like, oh, I'll do another, like, because at that point it had been like 20 something minutes. I was going to wait until the top of the hour basically. And it was like 11:40, I think. So I was like, okay, I'll do a smaller lap. And I just had a feeling, first of all, full tea, full honesty, full clarity. I was watching a video. It was a tarot video, and I was listening to the person just like call me out, and I'm like, wow. But it was like it was on stuff that I've already worked through, and it was on stuff that I knew was for me to work through. And basically, it's a whole lot of that, like everything that I had to work on within me to be willing to accept, ready to accept and receive happiness. And I've talked about it, right? And then so I do another lap, and I'm like, well, it's almost noon. If I don't get a text back, I'm just gonna call it a wash. I texted my mom. I did have like this slight feeling that it was like I was like, I feel like as soon as I get in the car, he's gonna text me. But I was just like, because there's the wishful thinking, and then there's the actual intuition. You know what I mean? So I was like, it came in, but again, like it feels like, especially not even especially in this regard, because I don't know what else. I don't. It feels like my intuition has gotten really quiet um, lately. And again, it's not that I don't hear it. It's not that I don't see it. Since it is a little quieter, sometimes it's easier to like purposefully ignore. Be like, oh yeah, no, that's just like wishful thinking, or like, oh yeah, no, like that's just a random thought that came across my mind. Anyway, I was like, I have a feeling that as soon as I get in the car, he's gonna text me. But it was already almost noon, and I was preparing myself to not go to lunch. And so I texted my mom. I was like, hey, like, do you want me to pick you anything up? And she was like, are you gonna stop somewhere? And I was like, no. So she was like, no. So then I get in the car. I like warm it up a little bit, and then I get a text from my friend that's like, hey, like, do you still want to go to lunch? I was like, yes. And he was like, you know, he was like, I'm ready. I was like, me too. So it happened. As soon as I got in the car, he texted me. And then we're talking, and he got a new job at this place. So this is the place that someone who was honestly toxic, but I'll say not very great, had recommended to me to work at. And because she recommended it to me, I was like, no. But hearing him talk about it, I was like, that's like the perfect, like, that's what I want. And then, like, my dream position popped up. This was months ago. I wanted to finish out my tenure. I wanted to finish out my stint. I wanted to finish out my contract at the job that I just left. So I was like, there's no point in applying for it now because it's probably a position that they're gonna like want to like start soon. So it was gone, of course. But he was like, hey, like there's this new position that like just opened up, and he told me the position was literally the one that I saw the night before, the one that I dismissed because of the title, that I didn't even open to look at the job description or anything. So as he was talking, I was like, yeah, I literally just noticed like two got posted last night. So I pulled it up as he was talking about it. I read it, and I was like, wow. So that follows that thread thin, like something was already telling me. It's just like the way that everything has been working out. And for me, because spirit knows me, I know me. Um, I feel like honestly, it's one of those things where like if I would have gotten it louder, if I would have felt any more pushed in this direction, I just would have been dumb and not done it. I just would have been like, no, like I see what you're doing. I'm not gonna do this just for the sake of being stubborn and not doing what is best for me. That's an old Patrickism that hopefully I've worked through and let go, because I will literally not do things that I want sometimes just because the wrong person suggested it, number one, or because I want to feel like because I'm just being difficult. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But it was thread thin. It was very quiet. I'm like, this is going to happen, isn't it? And so he told me a little bit more about the position today. And I realized, even when he toured this place, is this a deeper lesson? Hold up. I'm going to finish saying it. Even when he toured this place and he told me about it, I was like, that's what I thought I was getting when I came here. Like so many aspects of it. Like I saw a picture on the website at the company that I worked at, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be like that. I showed up, it was not like that at all of the things that I wanted to do as far as like coming in this job of talking to these people so I can branch out and eventually make that shift and transformation, I wasn't able to do because number one, the person left. not too long after or before I started. Number two, I didn't have time to do anything but my job. Um, and so it's like the environment, as far as like the work culture, is something that I like. The type of work is something that I think I'd be good at. And when I was going through schooling, it's like some of the stuff I had no interest in because it's in the automotive industry. I was like, when I was in chemical engineering, I was like, I don't want to do petrol. I don't want to do gasoline. So anything petrol, gasoline, or cars, no, not for me. But again, this past year, working as a microbiologist, I started to realize that there was a lot of engineering things that I actually wanted to do. All of the stuff that I didn't think I would. Um, and so it's a lot of that stuff. Again, I think I'm pretty sure I'll be decent at it. One of my friends, like my best friend, he had a very similar job for a little bit, so I'm going to talk to him about it. Um, but the work culture, the environment, the opportunities to like network within the company or like move within the company, it's again, it's like everything that I thought I was getting at this other place. It's everything that I wanted that I didn't get any of it all. And now here I am sitting with the potential that I'll be there. And I guess the wildest thing about this is that the only reason why I didn't seriously consider working at this place before was because of the person who recommended it to me. And also because it's like in the automotive industry. Like it wasn't just because of her, but she definitely helps me to not even be like remotely, because that was already like two strikes, but it was three because she gave it three strikes honestly herself. But automotive was just an extra like, oh yeah, no, but now here I am. So yeah, it's been this thread thin, whatever. Nothing is set in stone yet. But again, as I'm reading the first page, and I guess kind of sort of the first two pages of this thing, I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah, I guess that's it. Following challenge worked for me in 2022, as my intuition told me it would. I'm just really, really stubborn. I'm stubborn, but I'm also like, I do listen. If you talk to my mom, she will try to convince you otherwise. But if you talk to my mom, listening means doing the thing that someone is telling you to do. So, anyway, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where I end up. It's looking up from here. And I guess what's interesting is in my mind's eye, I could feel certain potentials opening up to me months ago. I could feel certain potentials opening up to me, but when I tried to like look at it, I couldn't see it. And then I noticed, I think a few weeks ago, that some of those things I can see now. And I can see them now because of, again, the things that I've worked through. I'm in a space to actually receive them now because there was so much that within me that I just would not have allowed myself, again, the happiness that I so desperately, or so deeply, I like that instead of desperately, that I was so deeply asking for. So here I am. So I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. If your intuition goes quiet, it might not, but if it does, I hope that you can still hear it. Because again, for me, like not only did it feel like it was quiet, because if I were to be pushed anymore, or if it was any louder, I would have probably, especially like months ago, I would have been triggered, would have self sabotaged hardcore, even more, and it would have been this whole thing that I don't do, or I don't reach out, I don't extend myself, I don't do the thing that I know I need to do, and then I miss out on something amazing and I live to regret it. Um, because that's another part of my pattern that I wanted to break. I don't want to live to regret anything. And I feel like 2020 and 2021, although they weren't the best years of my life, I don't think I have any regrets. And even from this year, I don't have any regrets. So that's another thing, I guess, that has become a metric for me. Um, just because I regretted not doing so much before. So, and with all that regret, it makes it easier to not do the same things for me personally. Because I'm like, I've done that, I've experienced that, it sucks, I don't want it. And if the worst case scenario is that I'm in this situation anyway, then I might as well try, you know? Because then there's a chance that I might not. So we do in our own time. I'm just stubborn enough that I get to appreciate the timing of it all, I guess. So yeah, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality, and all the best with the closing of this year, with the beginning of the next, with life in general. I hope that I was almost gonna say, like, I hope you're relatively unaffected by whatever is happening in the world right now, but then it's like, I hope you're able to get through it. I guess that's a better way to say it. If you are being affected by something, I hope that you're able to get through it. I hope that there's a moment of peace or respite or comfort that you can find in that. I hope that there is someone that you can turn to if you need it. And if you can't turn to anyone else, I hope that you can, at the very least, be there for yourself. Just to extend understanding and compassion. And, like, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be okay. You don't have to have it all kept together. Like, you can allow yourself a feeling, thinking human being, the grace and the space to be a thinking, feeling human being. Like, you know what I mean? So I'll catch you next time I catch you. Thanks, Holly, for being here. Bye.